quite a few big recruiting wins being reported, which means there's momentum rolling. So we're very, very pleased and very thankful that Coach has taken the time to chat with us. Coach, thank you for taking the time. We'll start with a player that everybody's familiar with rather than those guys that we hope to get to know one day. What parts of Drake Maye's game are you using this offseason to improve and build the most off of in his impressive debut season?
Well, Tim, first, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Triangle, and welcome to the state of North Carolina. It's a wonderful place and really friendly people, a lot of great football. The Wake Forest and Duke, NC State, and us are all playing really well at the highest level for all four at one time. So it should be a fun time for you to be coming in. Drake is a great person. He's really, really hard on himself. He's the younger of four brothers, and two of them have won national championships, one in basketball here and one in Florida with baseball. And he's got another brother that's on our current basketball team. So he's been the little brother that's been beaten up his whole life, and he just competes at everything. So he's really hard on himself, Tim. And after the season, he felt like that he wanted help with his throwing motion. He wanted help with his feet. He wanted help with his presence in the pocket. So we were so fortunate to hire Chip Lindsey, who has two current NFL quarterbacks that he coached, and Clyde Christensen came back to help us, who coached Peyton Manning and Jameis Winston and Andrew Luck and Tom Brady. So he's got some really good teachers around him right now. So we feel like that we're even as good as he played last year, we're going to see even a better version of Drake this fall.
Coach, you bring up Chip Lindsey coming in, the new offensive coordinator, obviously replacing Phil Longo. How different will the offense be, and how do you toe that line between not moving on from the things that your offense did so well last year while bringing in the things that Chip and that he's done in his career?
Tim, it's a great point. When Drake and I sat down and talked about it, Sam Howell and I were involved in conversations with Drake about it. We love our passing game, and we wanted to keep it. So I needed to find a guy who had an air raid background but liked to run the ball, because we ran the ball so well for our first 2 years here, and we haven't run it as near as well. We've been middle of the league for the last 2 years, and you were a quarterback. You've got to be the running game's quarterback's best friend. We've had too many sacks. So we've got to be physical and run the ball better. And Gus Malzahn has always had a great running offense. So I took the air raid offense that Chip had in high school. He's had at Arizona State. He had at Auburn. He had when he was down at Southern Miss as the offensive coordinators at those places. But we're bringing in the running game that he had and enjoyed so much with Gus. And Larry Porter, our offensive line coach, was with them at Auburn when they were running the ball like this. So he loves that type running game. And Randy Clements, our new offensive line coach, and Chip are best friends. So we feel like that we're going to have a similar to offense that we had, but more like the first 2 years when we were running the ball better.
Mack Brown, head coach, North Carolina football, connecting with us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline here on The Drive. Coach, I want to talk to you. You bring up that Drake is kind of the younger brother, and he's got a bunch of brothers. He's also, you look at maybe Trubisky, Howell, and he's kind of the younger brother in this hot streak of UNC quarterbacks, and he can obviously look to them and learn, right? Sam Howell had a lot of the same hype Drake Maye had, top pick hype. All the analysts loved him. Then prior to his final year on campus, Mack Brown, Daz Newsome, couple of running backs drafted in the NFL. He ends up going in the 5th round. Is there anything Drake can learn from that situation to survive and thrive with guys like Josh Downs, who was a top pick, and Antoine Green, another wide receiver being drafted this past draft?
Tim, it's a good point, and Sam has been so gracious with Drake to be like an older brother. Mm-hmm. He helped him when he was here, but he's been down here a lot this spring. They've spent a lot of time together. They work out together, and we're so proud of Sam that he's going to start for Washington, it looks like, as of right now, and good for him to have had the struggle his senior year, not be drafted where he wanted to, and take it all as a positive and take that negative and turn it into a positive. I thought the biggest thing is that we didn't run the ball well that year. and Sam had to run too much. And we don't want Drake being a runner. He's going to run enough off of his scrambles, but there was so much hype before the season. We had just come off of an Orange Bowl year. We had a lot of guys returning, and we just didn't play well. We were very, very inconsistent. It's my job. I didn't do a good job coaching them, obviously, because we spent too much time talking about and listening to our hype instead of preparing. This team losing the last 4 games, and 2 of them were really the better teams than us. We lose to Oregon with 19 seconds left, and we lose to Clemson because we turned the ball over 3 times, and Clemson's a really good team in the conference championship game. But then we come down and miss a field goal against State in overtime. We didn't play well the second half against Georgia Tech. So there's a natural edge, chip on the shoulder with this bunch, Tim, that we didn't have with that group that was 8th in the country in preseason and 10th in the country. And this team knows they've got a lot to prove. So they're an older team. We have a tougher schedule than we've had, and just about anybody's got right now in the country to start and to finish. But I don't think we're going to have any trouble getting this bunch focused and ready to play.
And along those same lines, right a year ago, your defense finished near the bottom of some rankings when it comes to stats in the ACC. But there's been rumblings around your program that the blitzes are coming. The aggressive play calls are going to be more dominant in the game plan. Do you have to use a very modern term, the dogs up front to get after the quarterback and take that style of attitude into each game this season?
Tim, we do. We gave up 1,000 yards against Appalachian State and 61 points in the second game of the season. So everybody turned on our defense and said they were awful after that. They actually played pretty good down the stretch and only gave up like 24 points in the ACC contest. So and we blitzed a lot more than we thought. But when you give up that many points, everybody says, well, they don't blitz any, and they don't tackle any, and they don't hit the quarterback. They don't cover, and all those things were true in that fourth quarter at Appalachian State.
That is an unbelievable impression, by the way. I know exactly what you're talking about.
but I was in the media. Sometimes we get on these tangents and we can't get off. When the narrative is made, it doesn't matter what happens. It's not changing. But yes, I think because the defense has heard how bad they are and how bad they were, that they are going to improve. We blitzed a lot more last year than some people thought, but when you're not stopping people consistently, they think you're passive. But I do feel like we were very much improved up front. We didn't play well in the secondary last year. We haven't played the ball well at corner. We haven't tackled well at safety. There's so many things that we need to improve, but I thought we saw a lot of progress in those areas this spring.
Head coach, UNC Football, Mack Brown, connecting with us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Coach, last one before we let you go, and thank you again for taking the time. That first game's a doozy, right? 7:30 p.m. Saturday, September 2nd. It's in Charlotte, neutral field, night game, South Carolina. Do you like opening the season with a splash game like that, or if you had your druthers, are you easing into it a bit more rather than hitting the treadmill when it's already set on 30 miles an hour or whatever it is?
Tim, I do like this. I think I would rather have a game that's an easy one to open with and have this one second. So you can we don't have preseason games in college football, so we're going to have to scrimmage more. We're going to have to be more physical in preseason because we don't have any time to learn how to play. We've got to have the foot on the gas and ready to go in that opener. Shane Beamer's done a tremendous job. South Carolina's hot. They ended up beating Tennessee and Clemson at the end of the year. They've got a lot of momentum. So as we tailed off at the end of the year, they just kept gaining momentum. So be 2 of the best quarterbacks in the country. It'll be a primetime game. I'm really excited about it, and our players are. So when they're out there in this 98-degree heat and they're running, I can just simply say South Carolina's running too, guys. So that says it all. You got to be ready to play. It's going to be hot in Charlotte on that Saturday night. It's going to be a great crowd. So it's going to be a fun game, and we'll have an idea and know who we are really quickly.
Coach, we appreciate you for taking the time. Hopefully we're able to do this again. Matter of fact, we'll see you at ACC Media Days next week.
Thank you, Tim. See you next week. And again, welcome to the Triangle.